All right, Billy, we have everyone?
We do. We are at 67.
All right.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
Tricia, can you hear us, Tricia?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. There you are.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, I think we're going to get started. I would like to say welcome and thank you for joining us. It is great to see many of your faces. It would be great, even better, to be able to see you in person. I know the work that we do, we care deeply for one another and the people that we serve, and so hugging is a part of our work oftentimes, and so this is a especially difficult time for us not to be able to be physically present with each other and welcome each other face to face. But thank you for being here. My name is Pam Clark-Reidenbach, and I am the Executive Director of the Northern Illinois Center for Nonprofit Excellence, more fondly known as NICNE. And we have Billy Callahan, who's the Associate Director of NICNE. Wave, Billy.
Good morning.
With us today as well. What we have is our Rockford Area Case Management Community of Practice. The Case Management Initiative is a collaborative among a number of different organizations and supported and sponsored by Goodwill Industries. What we usually do have are quarterly information sessions to expand the knowledge of services in the community and to further professionalize the field of case management. So we have these quarterly conversations around various topics and services available in the community to get everyone aware of the opportunities they have and how to access those services. But before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. We'll ask everyone to keep their screens muted until the question and answer time, or if you're a presenter, Amy will encourage you to unmute and provide information. But if you have questions, use the chat box and we will get to those questions. And also you need to know that we will email you any resources that are shared and the PowerPoint presentations that are used, so you don't need to worry about taking copious notes this early in the morning. So again, I'd like to thank you for being with us, and it is now my pleasure to introduce to you the moderator for today's session. We are deeply grateful and honored to have her with us today. She is Rock Valley College's Immigrant and Refugee Services Director. Please welcome Amy Heilman.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
So
morning.
many of you are here so early this morning, and I'm pretty excited about this panel because we have talked about it for many months, and we were supposed to do it in person, but here we are, and it's nice to be able to do it by Zoom. It teaches us all a little bit more on our Zoom skills. I'm the director of the Rock Valley College Refugee and Immigrant Services program, and I've been working for Rock Valley College since 1991, and I've been the director since 2007. And we are located at the Workforce Connection, which is at 303 North Main Street. And our office is on the 3rd floor with the unemployment office. And right now the unemployment office is closed, but a lot of us are here working, and eventually we'll get back to normal entry of people and refugees and all kinds of public coming into the center. I guess we're going to get started. We have several community agencies who have joined us today, and we're going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to ask questions, which you know, you guys can come on and answer. And if you have questions as presenters, you can put it in the chat. You just say it. But if you are the audience and you have questions, I guess put it in the chat box. Billy's out there helping us, and Pam to get it all going. First, I guess we are going to do some introductions, and Tricia, I'm going to let you go first.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for including us. I am the Director of Adult Education for English as a Second Language programs at Rock Valley College. And our entire program includes also ABE and GED, Adult Basic Ed, and GED preparation classes. Many of our English language learners do go into those programs once they have strong enough English skills. So I'm here to represent Rock Valley College Adult Ed.
Great, thanks for being here. And next is Sierra Hartman.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sierra, and I work at Rock Valley College with Amy in the Refugee and Immigrant Services office. I do business services as well as some case management, but I mostly work with employment. I've been here about 2 years, and it's been pretty great so far.
Thank you, Sierra. Joana?
Well, my name is Joana, and I've been with Rock Valley College for over 10 years doing citizenship. We serve about 200 plus clients per year. And we do citizenship and other little immigration things that come up that we don't necessarily advertise for. They just happen to come up, and we take care of it if we can.
Thank you, Joanna. Janet, are you out there? Janet?
Can you?
No. Isodel, are you here?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Janet?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. You can do your introduction.
Okay. Okay. So like I said, I'm Janet Biljeskovic. I'm a program director of Catholic Charities Refugee Resettlement Office. And I am just for the moment, have you heard Isodel is there, or did Isodel logged in?
I don't see him yet.
Okay. Because I just talked to him a couple minutes ago. He have a last minute thing, so he asked me to cover as well Catholic Charities Immigration Department. So I will go further what we do, but here I'll cover the both topics.
Thanks for being here, Janet. Bonnie, are you there?
Yeah. Good morning. I'm representing the Literacy Council this morning. I work with the tutors. I'm the literacy coordinator, and we offer ESL and ABE classes among some other services.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Yep.
Now I'm looking for Christy.
Hi, good morning. I'm Christy from the Winnebago County Health Department. I'm the Assistant Director of the Personal Health Services, or the Nursing Division. We offer medical care for our refugee population, as well as care coordination, making sure that we can send them where they appropriately need to go. We also provide vaccination services, blood screening, tuberculosis screening and treatment with federal grants that actually provide the medication for free for this population, as well as sexual health, which includes anything from sexually transmitted infections all the way into family planning services. Thank you.
Okay, as we get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about refugees, and in Rockford, we have been receiving refugees since around 1977, and probably many of you know someone who is a refugee. A lot of our staff, Janet and I, have refugee staff, and we do have multiple languages in our office. June 20th is coming up this week, and it is World Refugee Day, so kind of relevant that we had our discussion this week. And I just wanted to say that there's 65 million displaced persons around the world right now, and about 28,000 people per day are seeking refuge because of persecution and other situations that they're in fear of their life, and that makes many refugees. Half of all refugees are kids, and you know, it's very unfortunate, but we are lucky to live in a country where refugees are accepted, some years more than others, and you know, it's important that people in our community understand what our services do and how we work with refugees so that they can understand and also give out information as they learn it. So we want to do some questions and answers, and the first question is, why are your services critical to the community? And I think it would be great if Janet could answer that first.
Yes. Our refugees who do come to our area, we are the first recipients of them, and the first ones who provide the services. So a whole process of refugees arriving to United States has a number of the steps. So just to maybe make it clear, it's that we do not decide which refugee comes here. The refugees go through the whole process. They have to be recognized by UNHCR, have to be in a third country. And, you know, I see the slides, so refugees who have fled. So if you read the definitions, so once the refugees are assigned to our office, our job is to find apartments for them, fill apartments with the furnitures and personal items, the household, the food, at least 1 week food. Then we have services we have to provide. We take care of their medical care. Christy is here. We'll refer them to health department. Everybody has to go through the health screening and the physicals. We enroll children in the schools. There are some cases we immediately report to Amy for the employment services, and you know, there are some we actually serve up to 6 months. We have 2 different programs. While you know, in one point the Rockford College Amy's office becomes employment service provider from the day one, but all other ones are referred to the Rockford College after some who are not able to find employment within 3 months. They are referred to Rockford College for Employment Services immediately, and after that, the other ones are served by our office for 6 to 8 months. We just have a little prolonged services right now. We work with the Rockford College, so Tricia Wagner there is also very respected. We are also referring all the refugees to the other agencies as their needs are. And after all services are completed with our period of assistance, we refer the clients for the further services at Rock Valley College Refugee Services. We have what is very important that we can't really do everything ourselves. We have huge pool of the volunteers. My staff is majority the staff of themselves being the refugees, as Amy have mentioned. We also have a pool of the interpreters who are refugees themselves. We have ESL classes running in our office until the Rock Valley College adult education have their classes open. We have, so if we are, the biggest point of the, or let's say the hardest, the first moment of working with refugees is providing the orientation to, cultural orientation to the refugees and work on their cultural adjustment. So very intensively, we are working, our staff is working on one-on-one basis as well. We have many of other community providers, let's say Rockford Public Schools, I mean Amy's office as well. Then we have Tricia with adult education and the Rockford Mass Transit, as well police officers and others coming and presenting, providing the cultural orientation together with our staff. And we were lucky enough to have all the languages available, applicable to the refugees available in among our staff and our really very hardworking volunteers. We also have a sewing class. We have initiated that as a piecework, and I have to tell you that at this moment of this pandemic, that they really did a great job. We have provided the sewing machines to them. So the skills they have learned in our classes, which are held by the volunteers, it helps them as well to gain employment in some of the employment places around the town who do need the experienced sewers. They have worked really hard in sewing the mask and providing to the, we have provided, we take to some to Miss Carly, some to the other pantries, and to St. Elizabeth Center when the masks were not available.
Janet, I'm gonna stop you there because we need to get through this first question with all the providers, and there's quite a few other questions.
Okay.
Sierra, can you tell us why the services Rock Valley provides are critical to the community?
Yeah. So our office usually helps refugees around 6 months to 5 years. So this could be after they see Janet or if they're second migrants. But we kind of help them with everything. So we work as an umbrella to help them with referrals. If they need help with public aid or Social Security, that's what our office is for. We also have connections to the Workforce Connection and unemployment. So we help with employment services. So we're just kind of here to help with everything they could need and to connect them to other community partners.
Thank you, Sierra. And Tricia, can you tell us what services you're providing that's critical to these populations? Tricia? Okay, Bonnie.
There you go. Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Janet for the kind words, and we do work closely, just like Sierra said, with refugees. Once they come from Catholic Charities, we can receive them into our adult education classes. Our services are critical. We look at them as meeting the immediate language needs of students who come are newcomers to the country. We have language services that are offered all the way from literacy to high advanced to academic preparation. And what we feel like we can do most effectively for these students is to give them that foundation of language learning and also a pathway into higher education, training, other opportunities through our program, so that the students, ultimately can move forward, receive the skills and training they need to access that family sustaining living wage that we all want them to have. So that's
Thank
what
you.
I would say about
Bonnie. Bonnie, can you go next and talk about your services?
Sure. The Literacy Council, we help refugees because communication is an issue, and that affects all aspects of their life. That's kind of where we come in. We offer the classes, we offer one-on-one tutoring, and that helps them to be okay in the community, be able to talk with people, get services that they need, and be accustomed to everything.
Thank you. Christy, I know we refer all of our clients to your services at the health department.
Yes, we offer in the beginning working closely with the resettlement agencies such as Catholic Charities. We start with their medical screening that is performed by Dr. Thomas Schiller, and he is able to identify any acute or also chronic illness. We do survey their labs, and we make sure that we are providing them a screening that will identify the need for us to refer out. In addition to that, because they become our community members as refugees here in the Rockford area, we are their link to start with health services. So we are able to hook them up to the different diverse programs that the health department does offer. Whether it be a pregnant refugee mom who needs to enroll in WIC or needs to further family planning services in the future. Our services here in totality at the health department are essential to making sure that they are healthy and that they continue down a path of wellness.
Thank you, Christy. Fauzia is here from Rockford Public Schools, and very important services that they provide. Fauzia, can you give us a quick introduction and why your services are critical to the refugee and immigrant community?
Yes, thank you, Amy. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. I'm Fauzia Bakhter from the from Rockford School District 205. And I also, on this call, I have Ruth Sanchez. She's another coordinator in the program. Sorry, Misael couldn't make it for this call because he has a conflict in his schedule. But very quickly, I'm just gonna summarize what the district does for refugees. Like when Janet mentioned that it starts with Janet and registration happens at the school district, and then we put the refugee students under a category of newcomers. The district offers language services depending on the language and the number of students. For example, Arabic students, because we have large number of Arabic students, we have Arabic classrooms. Pre-K all the way now, this year it's going to roll over to middle school, 6th grade. So we do have Arabic program. Other languages like Burmese or Swahili, the number is not there yet to have bilingual education for them, but we do offer ESL services. And for our newcomers, we hire tutors who speak the same language. So we have tutors who speak Swahili, we have tutors who speak Korean and Burmese. And like what Janet said, it's we're opening positions and offer opportunities for refugees who have been here in the country enough to speak both languages, and we hire them. So this is amazing. I had the privilege to interview the tutors and talk to them, and then it's so excited to see that they came in as refugees and then they went into the school system and now they want to work as tutors. So tutors are to help students in the classrooms, push in or pull out, but we also hire family support staff to help parents at home. So we do have family support staff who speak Arabic, Swahili, Korean, and of course we do have Spanish. So those are dedicated to help parents make phone calls, let them know, engage them with education, let them know what's happening in school and with their children's lives at school. So far, it's been great, and we appreciate the Catholic Charities. We appreciate all the help and the support that we get, and the community is just an awesome that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Fauzia. At the kind of throughout the process, Isodel and Joana are providing services. Is Isodel on the call?
Amy?
Oh, or okay, let's go to Joana, and then we'll come back and see if Isodel or Janet can talk about the services that are critical to the community that you provide.
Okay, so I have contact with refugees 5 years after they've come into the country. And what we do is that we offer the citizenship program. For the citizenship program, like I said, we get them 5 years after they come in. We usually serve low-income families, and our services are free. We do a fee waiver because immigration forms are usually fairly expensive. A citizenship application right now is going for $725, and it's about to go up to $1,170. That's the proposed amount. And so we offer a fee waiver. And that way they don't have to pay for their application. And after they become citizens themselves, they can apply for their children to become citizens or get a certificate of citizenship for them. And like I said, all outdoor services are free. I think that's what we do.
Thank you. Janet, did you want to talk about what Isodel provides and your office provides?
Yes, what our office provides is, we have 2 members, myself and Isodel, are accredited to provide the immigration services, and we are growing. Joe has 2 more staff hired, so we are growing and expanding a little bit more that program. Our office covers mostly the family-based immigration, which bases, if we touch the refugees, we do the family unification, so petitions too. If I talk the numbers, it's different. We file the petitions to bring the spouses or unmarried children for the refugees. As well, we, year after, all refugees who apply for adjustment of status, so to receive a green card. So we are the, let's say, the first provider of the filing the adjustments for them. We do employment authorizations. We work a lot with the DACA children. But if we are basing this only for, for the refugees, so it is adjustment of status, renewing the employment cards, filing the petitions for their relatives. We also do the citizenship applications. We file the waivers for the program for the forms or applications which are eligible for the, to be waived, because that's not all the applications, we provide are eligible by CIS to be waived. And our office does charge the nominal fee. And of course, for the families who have a hardship, we provide we waive or lower our nominal fee.
Thank you, Janet. At this point, I wanted to just quickly talk about who's a refugee and who has come over the years as refugees to Rockford. When I started in 1991, There was many people from Vietnam and Laos. A lot of years we spent mostly with Vietnamese and Laotians, and then quite a few other groups started to come, Bosnians, people from Uzbekistan, Sudan. Right now we have a great deal of Congolese, people from Eritrea and Ethiopia. Over all these years, we've had several Cubans, Iraqis, Syrians, people from Afghanistan, Burma, Haiti. There's several others that you can't name them all. And, you know, they were interviewed in a place outside of the United States mostly, and they were deemed refugees, and they almost all came through Janet, a few of them, and Catholic Charities. A few of them came as secondary migrants to Rockford, and quite a few, very, very few, are asylees, which means that they were interviewed inside the United States and considered that they were claiming asylum and were granted asylum here. And then I really wanted to talk about a few famous refugees. There are quite a list of famous refugees that many of you might be familiar with these people. Madeleine Albright, Henry Kissinger, Gloria Estefan, Bob Marley, Sigmund Freud, Claude Levi-Strauss, and His Holiness the current Dalai Lama, of course, Albert Einstein, and actually Jesus was a refugee because he had to flee in order to escape being persecuted. So with that, I think we'll go to the next question. I think most of us talked about who we are serving, but maybe quickly we can go through the list and talk about what's the best way for someone to access the services. Now we know that as Janet receives new arrivals, most of them are referred to the other agencies, but sometimes other agencies outside of our group come across someone who may need some services, and let's talk about how someone would get a hold of you or would say they need ESL or medical help, how they would access those services. So go ahead, Tricia.
Sure. So if someone came across an individual in need of English language services, the best way to contact us would be to show the student our website. On our website, we keep the information very current, and we have information about English as a second language classes, GED classes, our support services, our transition services, some of our special higher level programs that integrate English language learning with training, with post-secondary training. So that would be the first step. On the website, we have very clear instructions for how a student registers for an enrollment session. And once a student has done that, they're set. They'll come and take a test with us, and then we'll, excuse me, then we'll place them in a class according to their level. So really, if anyone had a question, they could absolutely reach out to me or any of the numbers listed on our website. But getting them into an enrollment session is the first step. We do have a lot of partners that it's an easy form. It can be done on the smartphone, on the computer, you know, anywhere. Many students can do it, but we do have a lot of partners who might walk a student through it or show them how to access that and plan to come to a testing session.
Sierra, are you there?
Yeah, so I think for us, we're pretty well connected in the community. So I think Amy probably gets the most calls if anyone needs to be referred. But definitely our main line, and we are also open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Typically, if there's a second migrant or if someone needs to refer someone, they either call or they stop in. But Amy and I are also available for referrals.
Thank you. Janet.
Yes, well, besides the refugees who are directly referred to us by our national office, very often, as Amy mentioned, we have walk-in secondary migrants, which depends on the time, how long they actually stayed in the United States in previous city. We can continue, we can enroll them in our programs and serve them and proceed as well, as with with the referral later on to the Rock Valley refugee offices. We generally we do accept the walk-ins, but because of the time we are right now, that's a little bit challenging. But however, our main line, 815-399-1709, which will work for both for immigration and for refugees. But also you can go to our website, Catholic Charities website, and you'll see each program's listed. So if you have immigration and refugee questions, you can click on email. Mainly, the emails from there come to me, or if you click to immigration's email will go to Isodel, and we will get back to you.
Annie.
Sure. The best way to get a hold of us, I think, is really by calling our main number or emailing myself. And then if they call the main number, they'll be directed for tutoring or for ESL classes. We're in the midst of redoing our website, as well as getting an online form to sign up for classes. So, but the best way right now is to call or email.
Thank you. Christy, I know that there's a lot of refugees who come as secondary migrants, and sometimes, they need some medical services. So how would they get a hold of you?
We have a variety of ways that you can reach out to the health department, whether it be our main line or our website. If they are not comfortable speaking to someone, they can utilize the website, and then we can translate that in order to call them back. For those of you who are going to make a referral, not just the resettlement agencies, but maybe you're in contact with someone who may need medical services, I would ask that you would document my phone number and call me personally so that you don't have to go through the script of rolling. And that is 815-720-4090, and I can coordinate who I actually send that call to based on what needs they have.
Thank you, Christy. Fauzia, we know that there's a lot of children coming into the area and they need to get enrolled in school. How would they do that?
Right. So Amy, the best way to get hold of us and get information about us would be the district website, rockford205.com, and the bilingual department. So it's just easy. You go to the website and you get information about the bilingual department and our programs. I just wanted to quickly refer to the service that the family support staff members that I referred to before, they actually work closely with families, and sometimes they have to call clinics to translate for them and take appointments. So not only they're bridging between parents and school, they also help them with other issues, calling doctors or dentists or things like this. I want to say that I want to thank Janet for contacting me. Once she gets a new group, Janet contacts me and she said, I have a new group. Do you want to come and do the orientation session? And I know we didn't do it last time since the COVID-19 hit, but we're planning to do one soon, once we can get back and meet in the same room. And I do a presentation, just very briefly. I explained to them the school system, public school system, and how it's different And then very briefly, some features of public education, for example, rules of not holding knives or weapons or anything like that, and following the school rules and expectations from schools. And then I give them my phone number in case they have questions. Most of the times I would take one or two of the family support members, like I would take the Swahili speaking or the Korean speaking just to introduce them. Otherwise, I show them pictures and names of those family support members. And then more, like I said, they also used to be refugees. So they contact them. Last year, I want to thank Tricia for coming to one of the PPAC meetings. I invited Tricia and I said, please come talk to parents about ESL classes and GED classes and things like this. So like I said, it takes a whole community to help our refugees, and then it's like a chain with links, and everyone has to do something to continue serving our students. So Fauzia Bakhtor is my name, and you can find my email address on the website. You can also reach out for Misael Nascimento. It's just so easy to get hold of us.
Thank you, Fauzia. Joana, how would someone refer someone to a citizenship class or for application services? Joana?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I was halfway through. Okay, well, they would basically just walk into the office. That's one of the options. If they don't find me, they'll find you or Sierra. And you guys are probably gonna tell them when I would be there, because I'm only part-time, so I'm not there all the time. They could also give us a call, leave a voice message, and I would return their phone call, or they can go into our Facebook page, Citizenship Services, Rock Valley College. And a lot of people feel comfortable sending me messages through that. And I usually reply pretty quickly, whether I'm in the office or not.
Great, thank you. Did I get everybody? I was looking at the other questions, and really we've kind of gone through them. I know that there's going to be a lot of questions from the participants in the meeting here, but we can put out some questions. We could also answer what is something that maybe the case managers that are out there and they have a refugee or someone that they think might need your services, what kind of things do they need to know before referring to our offices? Who's eligible and who's not, and what are some things that would be important? Let's start with Christy.
So we actually have very numerous amount of grants that cover many different refugees and also different services. The main thing that I would want to encourage is making sure that they have some form of identification with them when they come in, whether it be the IOM forms or it is identification that they receive in the United States or in the state of Illinois. When we get referrals, there is one thing that I need people to hear is we do not manage chronic illness. The one exemption for that is obviously tuberculosis, because that is under a different federal grant. And some of our refugees actually do enter with, tuberculosis. And so then we will manage that care. When we look at the chronicity of disease, we need to think of things like heart failure or any kind of specialist needed. We can link them to care, so we would not unwelcome anyone, but we would link them to the correct care that they would need in order to promote their wellness.
Okay, Fauzia, what would someone need to know to refer clients to you and connect them to your services?
Amy and everyone, by law, all non-native speakers of English, let alone refugees, are qualified for services, language services, by law. So anyone who comes into this country and English is not their native language, they are qualified for services. Like I said before, the program might be different, or the program might look different, but at the end of the day, they are getting language services. So the law says that if you have in one building at a certain level or at a grade level, you have 20 kids or more who speak one language, then you get to make bilingual classroom where native language is being taught as well as English. But if you don't have that number, then you place those students in an all English, we call it general education monolingual classroom, but then you also provide ESL services by hiring an ESL teacher. And then in the case of refugees, like I mentioned before, I'm sorry, I don't mean to repeat, is that we hire tutors because kids come in with very limited or no English at all. And we throw them in a monolingual classroom. We need to support them with the native language. We need to bring someone who can talk to them in their own native language and help them gradually transition into English. So everyone is qualified. Everyone by law is qualified.
Thank you, Fauzia. I know during this this whole pandemic, a lot of your bilingual workers have been helping refugees get connected with technology and services, and they have called me sometimes, and we have connected on getting a hold of families, and you know, it's been very important, and I know they've been working so hard to make sure that all these families get services.
If you have a minute, I can just share with you quickly when the pandemic hit. And the school, like Lincoln Middle School, called me and they said, well, I have families who couldn't even fill out the application to request their devices. We need support. And then I called my family support staff, like, you gotta help them. You gotta help them fill out. And then I get another call saying, families do not have access to transportation to come and pick up their devices. At this point, exactly. What can I do? How can I make my family? So I said, listen, this is voluntary. If you're willing to go to, and I said, I will be the first person to volunteer. I'm going to middle school and I'm going to take a list of students and add their addresses, and I'm going to drop off. If you're willing to help, please come. If you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable. And then I'm not surprised. A lot of those family support people and tutors said, no, we're gonna help. And they came in with their masks, they took some devices, and then we started delivering those devices into students' homes. So then that way they, you know, continue with their education. I have an amazing staff and everybody is just amazing that way.
Yes, thank you. Bonnie?
Sure. Our program, we accept adults that are 17 and older. They need to be out of school for a year. And we also, we serve people that are from the literacy level all the way up to 8.9. Once they reach 9th grade reading level, they are referred out, most likely to Rock Valley or another organization, depending on their goals. I think another thing that would be helpful is if somebody's interested in tutoring and they come into us or they're referred to us to communicate to them to be thinking about when they are available to tutor, what days, what times, and if they have children, do they have childcare? Because we don't allow any children when they are getting tutored. So I think those are the most helpful things.
Thank you, Bonnie. Tricia?
So the most important thing that that we probably would love to have communicated just all around is that that students benefit the most from a longer investment in these services and in this education. We can certainly take them at whatever level they're at and help them to move forward, but students we find often need quite a bit of support to persist. And this could be either motivation or it could be helping to remove barriers. A student who joins a class and can pretty much stick with it for a long term, a semester or even 2 or more, will progress and advance much faster than a student who starts and stops and then something changes and they start again and then they stop. And this happens to a pretty large percentage of our students just because their lives are a little bit unstable, can be. So anything that we can do or that partners can do to help the student come in consistently, they're going to have a much more effective experience, and hopefully they'll reach those goals more quickly.
Thank you, Tricia. Sierra?
Okay, well, I think we have a little office, you know, in the back of the Workforce Connection. So a lot of people don't even know we exist. So that's definitely one of the most important steps, is just getting our name out there. But we get a lot of different people that walk through the door, refugees and immigrants, because we do have a few grants in this office. We do citizenship, and then we have a senior program, case management, and then employment. So typically we do serve refugees up to 5 years, but we also do serve some immigrants, and then citizenship does both as well. So even if someone comes in and we can't help them specifically under a grant, we're pretty well connected that we can refer them to the right organization.
Thank you. Janet?
Us, and everybody's welcome to contact us. And even our program ends, let's say officially, you know, 3 months, 6 months, or you know, 8 or 9 months. As we know, we all work under the different grants, but we never keep the door closed. If we can help, you know, we help, and many of them we do refer. So we encourage everybody to contact us. We will make sure that we will do the right referral and seek for the help.
Thank you. All of these services are so important for the new arrivals and all the people that are coming. You know, it takes every single one of us to make a refugee have a great experience. And I noticed there's a couple of agencies on the line. There is someone, Ed Joya. If he could unmute and talk to us a little bit about the services he provides, and then maybe Head Start also is very important for refugee communities. I don't know if they can be put on the line.
My name is Edward Joya. I'm the
Hi.
Hello. I am the Rockford representative of the International Red Cross Restoring Family Links. And basically what we do is we try to reconnect families that have lost contact with each other. We have, and like I said, we're the International Red Cross, so we have international connections, and given enough information, we have, I have not been personally involved, but I have heard stories of some amazing finds. So, you know, we're really dedicated to restoring family links. Also, during various crises, there have been international persons who have helped the United States that ended up in very specific refugee camps, who are authorized to receive benefits from the United States. If you run into one of those people, we help obtain those letters. We do the history necessary to ensure that they were in fact in that refugee camp, and obtain the necessary letters to submit to the U.S. government for their compensation. That's what we do.
Thank you. Is Amy Morris on from Head Start?
I am. I'm just getting unmuted here. Sorry about that. So I am one of the early Head Start home visitor teachers, and we are connected with, in early Head Start, we're connected with pregnant moms up to 3, and we work in the homes with the families for 90 minutes a week, not only on the development of the child, but the well-being of the family in general. And so currently I have 2 refugee families on my caseload, and I know there are a couple other teachers that have some too, but just that focus of the family connecting with the child and that social emotional relationship, and then ultimately to get them ready to transition into one of our classrooms in our 3 to 5 Head Start program.
Thank you, Amy. So how might case managers or service providers connect immigrants and refugees to community groups to build a sense of community and belonging and to build a personal support network? So how are we working with people to help them connect with the community and start to feel like they're a part of Rockford in our area? Let's start with Sierra.
Okay, well, I think that a lot of times when they get here, usually we do an assessment and an intake, and then we figure out what services they'll need. So like ESL, English classes, that's a great way for them to get connected with other refugees, as well as English speakers and their teachers, as well as religion. A lot of them get connected in local churches, and their jobs as well. Is a great way for them to get connected and to practice English. But basically, we're just here to connect them to any of the resources they need or they want to be a part of. I know Catholic Charities has a great program where they do sewing. So that kind of stuff is great for refugees to help them feel connected. And we try and connect them in any way that we can.
Thank you, Sierra. How about Tricia?
Kind of like Sierra in that, you know, we have a primary service that we offer. However, we do have wraparound services as well. So we have a transitions coordinator on staff that can help any student that's wanting to get involved in an educational program outside of adult education. They get extremely strong support from her. So anyone who's at that point would have someone walking them through how to get involved in something more broad than adult education. We also have Miguel Toledo, who's our educational advocate counselor. He works with the students to provide referrals to any needs. So if anyone expressed a need to get involved or a desire to get involved in any particular service or access to a service, he would work with them on the logistics to make that happen. So basically on a case-by-case basis, we'll assist students to get where they need to go. We also do have core partners in adult education that include RPS, the Literacy Council, and then of course the Workforce Connection, as well as internal like RVC Refugee Services, of course. But any student that is needing to connect with the Workforce Connection, we have a referral system set up so that we can provide them access to those programs and services as well.
Thank you, Tricia. Janet, I know there's a lot of things that Catholic Charities does to get new arrivals connected with other people and other families. Janet, can you unmute?
Okay, so
Thank you.
I'm unmuting myself automatically. First of all, I think just for generally, for everybody to know that most of the refugees who are coming these days, they already have very established community already. And, as we talk as let's say we say about Burmese. I mean, Burmese alone, they have at least 4 different groups. And of course, also their religious beliefs plays a role too. They attend the different churches and having, they intend to create their communities in their groups too. And about 90% of our refugees in past few years were the USCIS family cases, which means they already have a family member and they're coming to Rockford because they want to be connected to the or be united with the family member. So that alone gives the refugees connection as well. But I'm also very, I think the work, our cultural orientation, where really I cannot say enough thank you to many of the participants of our community orientation. Well, let's mention besides us you who are on the screen today, but let's say with having Rockford Mass Transit coming and doing a one-on-one and taking them to the bus, having a ride to their home, getting the ride back. So, it gives the support that their trust to our bus drivers, because they get into the communication, they get introduced to them. The other thing is example with the Rockford police, where they actually, they spend really quality time with them. And as well, show them the ride, not the ride, I'm sorry, show them a police car, they get to see, and then they are building that friendly relationship. And this way, the refugees are teaching our police officers as well, the police officer learn about the different cultures and approach. And they work, for example, why will they not take the shoes in some houses where the shoes, how do we take them because of the cultural? So I think it really, really works well, always connection and all of us working together. And I don't know what else, really I could add. One thing is that when we do some community events, I'm really not. Some of you have. I'm sorry. I apologize. Some of you have already received the letters. I did not have a chance to send to everybody regarding the World Refugee Day and sharing the success story, which actually saves a picture of all of refugees. I mean, I myself came as a refugee, so went through this. All these loops and communications, but Rockford is very welcoming city, and we are. I think it's just everybody is welcome with open heart communication between us who have a stakeholding in their lives. It makes much more easy.
Fauzia, I know that there's a lot of programs that the Rockford Public Schools has and that connects refugee families.
Yes, Amy, so let me focus on the BPAC. So what is BPAC? BPAC is Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee. That's the meaning of BPAC. Again, by the law, the BPAC in a state should meet with this committee, the school district should meet with this committee at least 4 times per year. We do more. We add to those 4 times, 1 time during Thanksgiving, we do celebration, we'll bring all the parents and then they bring their dishes and then we have like a big community party for Thanksgiving. And then in the spring, that unfortunately we were not able to do it this year, we do the spring festival where we bring diverse population in our community, and then we do dancing and singing and dishes and things like this. So this is the one thing. I don't think I mentioned that the translation department in our district is also overseen by the bilingual department. So when we do the PPAC, the translation department gives every parent who's coming in a headphone, and then if they need it, and then we tell them the presenter in this meeting is going to speak in English, but if you would like translation into your own language, you get a headphone. So most of the parents do accept those headphones, and then we speak the language of almost everyone who is sitting in the room. We invite people, leaders from the community. We invited Tricia. Thank you, Tricia. Last year she came and she talked about ESL classes and GED and how to get there and what to do. We also invite leaders from the school district to talk to them about programs, high school programs, about the code of conduct, because sometimes the students get in trouble, but then parents are like, we had no idea this was wrong, or we had no idea about the regulations of the rules. And then we make sure that we inform them, and then we teach them, and then we communicate with them. We talk to them about budgets. We talk to them about updates about our programs and what we're doing and what they need to expect from teachers and how to contact teachers and all sort of things. So basically, I would say just a BPAC is the key to involve parents and engage them in our education community. I think this would cover your question, or do you have?
No, I think that's great. Thank you. Joana, I know that sometimes through your classes that many immigrants and refugees make some long-lasting connections.
Through citizenship classes, they feel like they're in this together. So they study together. Even after class, there's groups that get together, and that's how they end up developing long-lasting friendships. They end up going to their fingerprints, which is one of the things they need to do throughout their process. They end up going to their citizenship interviews, usually together. So they see each other throughout this whole process, and they end up building relationships that way.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Christy, is there any programs at the health department that connect families?
We try very hard to orchestrate referrals out so that they can, carry a community together. I would like to say, with HIPAA, we have to be very careful. However, when we refer them to the other programs such as WIC and those kind of things, I've noticed that they are able to sit next to each other and talk to each other in our non-COVID operational period. What I would like you to hear is that although we don't have many activities that promote community for them, our staff is very multicultural. We have many staff members who speak multiple languages, as well as we have a translator service where we try to make them feel very welcome, as well as understand what concerns they have about their medical health.
Thank you. We have a question. Let's see. We have a question about SNAP that Amy from Head Start is working with many families, and maybe they have had their SNAP, or what used to be called food stamps, or medical benefits, and they had them discontinued because they did not recertify. I would say in that case, you could refer them to Sierra and I at, if they're less than 5 years in the United States, they would be on our caseload, and we would help them to get back in connection with public aid to reapply. We do a lot of those. Also, they could connect with IDHS directly and ask for help there. They do have translation services on site. Let's see, there's another question here about do immigrants qualify for all the services we've discussed today? Well, I think a lot of us have been talking about refugees, and some of the services that we've been talking about are for refugees and some are also for immigrants. Not all the services that we have discussed today are for immigrants. Refugees kind of have a special situation that the United States is their sponsor and immigrants have a sponsor. And so the way that the federal government and the state government looks at the benefits that are available to immigrants and refugees is a little different. I know in our office, Sierra and I, and we work with mostly refugees, whereas Joana works with refugees and immigrants. There are services for immigrants in our office through the Workforce Connection, and we can get people connected that way. But Tricia, Bonnie, I think everybody's working with refugees and immigrants, undocumented and documented. Christy, of course, probably is able to work with refugees and immigrants in the health services. Fauzia did mention that refugees and immigrants are connecting to Rockford Public Schools and are eligible for services. And of course, Isodel is doing refugee and immigrant helping with immigration documents and helping people to apply for things. And of course, he is seeing refugees and immigrants both. Melanie asks if there's any legal issues that come up and need to be addressed once people have been awarded refugee and asylee status. Yes, sometimes people commit crimes. It's not usually something that we have to deal with in the refugee community, but we refer all refugees back to Catholic Charities at around 1 year of time to get their adjustment of status so that they can get their green card. Their green cards are dated back to their date of arrival. So when they're counting their years in the United States, their permanent residency goes back to that date of arrival, and they're able to use that time that they waited for their green card to apply for citizenship at 5 years. And do they qualify for Prairie State? Yes, we have referred a lot of refugees to Prairie State Legal Services. There's different things that they do for people on a legal basis, and they've been very great. Prairie State Legal Services is in our building on the 6th floor. And you can call and get information on how to refer someone. And we have not had too many refugees have to hire a private attorney. Usually they go through Prairie State, or there's several immigration attorneys in Rockford. Joe is available to do consultations for people who need paperwork done. I think that lots of options. It just depends on what the legal situation is. Is there a connection to mental health services? Yes. We have many refugees who have issues from their past and present. And I think that we are using our health providers in town and Janet Waddell's center, Rosecrans, to help with those kind of issues. Unfortunately, we do not have a mental health program specifically for refugees like they do in Chicago. I always wish we had that, but we don't have the number of refugees in Rockford to keep that program sustained with the medical personnel that need to provide those services. Any other questions? Yes, would you like to speak, Christy?
Yes, thank you. One deficit that we learned here at the health department since I arrived, I've been looking at research. A lot of the national standards when we accommodate our refugees into our areas is that we're not really assessing for mental health deficiencies. Being that we want to be a trauma-informed community, this is something that we are talking about here at the health department to begin to look at a screening tool that is modified for the refugee and also culturally acceptable with all refugees that we're seeing, to empower us to help get them the resources they need. And we all know that the mental health resources are very limited in the United States as well as here in the state of Illinois. But even if it means to, for us to be able to identify people that maybe are not acclimating well since they've been resettled, and then give them a referral and maybe a list of resources. I want you to know that the health department is really committed into looking at their overall mental health as they reacclimate here.
Thank you, Christy. Yeah, mental health is quite a an issue for many as they've been through so much. Yes,
I would like
Janet.
to add just something. All the refugees who arrive through our office, we have before their arrival, their medical, which medical needs have to be accessed. Some of them immediately, maybe right at the time of the arrival, we have to take them directly to the to see the medical provider, or within a week or within a month, and sometimes there is no time. There are a number of them seen by the medical providers prior. They have been health screened, or at a physical with the Winnebago County Health Department. But we do keep that connected then after with the health department, so we know where we stand. But with when we talk about the mental issues, we have. We do go through the Crusader Clinic and through the Rosecrans. And I can tell you that the Rosecrans actually does have interpreters. Their interpreter line, or sometime in a person, for almost all languages we have arriving. So for the ones in an immediate need, as they come, those are the services we use. And the protocol.
Yeah, it's really great. Let's talk about volunteers. I get many calls for people who want to volunteer for something. They want to be a part of our refugee community in some way. Maybe some of you could just pop on and say whether you accept volunteers. We do accept volunteers in our program. We do have some people helping with citizenship classes. We have a volunteer who works in our office. He's a senior, and he also provides interpretation. We're so grateful for that. And we've had different people come in, internships and volunteers, and maybe you guys can talk about whether how your volunteers or how you could accept volunteers. Anyone?
If you don't mind, I'll go first as a first touch with the refugees, since that's the topic. We welcome volunteers. The process is to, of course, contact us, and then we will go over the necessary paperwork. and then we'll work out in which area or field you feel like you can fit. We appreciate 1 hour or 40 hours or more per week you can offer. So every, anytime you think you can offer, we will greatly accept. We have our ESL classes are held by volunteers, teachers, which we work with the Littlers Council together, and many of our volunteers are as well volunteers with Literacy Council. So they can, we are looking for volunteers for our ESL class. We are looking for the babysitters / tutors for the children before they enter into the school, so parents can also be concentrated in, having a more concentration during their classes, because we do, when we have a babysitters available, we allow the children to come. We also do for resume preparation, for the general case, preparing the apartments, transporting individuals, providing the orientation, as well as actually in any aspect, helping with the employment services, employment classes, computer instructors. We do have a computer lab, so we are always looking for someone who can volunteer some time to teach the refugees, as we provide the laptops to each family. So if they are not familiar, we can do in our classes. So help them with applying for state IDs and anything. So we'll work with the volunteers wherever they find the comfort. We can make that happen.
Anyone else?
Amy, I'll go.
Okay.
The Literacy Council, the adult tutoring program is all run by volunteers, and we're always looking for tutors. We have many learners that need a tutor. The tutors themselves have to go through some training. We have taken it virtual. So we're actually doing, it's called Literacy Tutoring. Thank you, Tricia, for helping me with that name. It's going well. I'm proud to say that this is the second month we've implemented it by using Zoom, and we have, it'll be 9 completers for tutors, which is the most we've had in a long time. And also just as an added thing, a lot of our learners also like to tutor, or also have become tutors. And then they've also liked to volunteer at other places. So if some of you also, have other resources, they're always asking, where can we volunteer? They want to build up their resume, their skills, their English speaking skills. Some of them volunteer with us, but we try to refer them to get them out in the community. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have volunteers or need volunteers? I think, volunteers are very important, and a lot of the Chicago agencies, like our agency and Janet's, have so many volunteers that are helping, and the services just become more relevant, and sometimes that volunteer is another refugee who speaks the same language, and they're able to spend a great deal of time, whereas maybe our time is very limited, and the important services and help that they receive from volunteers is crucial for them to be more successful, and maybe with their job search or their employment, maybe getting a ride or learning more English, whatever it is that they're doing for them, learning to drive. The churches in town, a lot of refugees go to church and different religious places, and they hook up with people who have the same religion, and a lot of times there are regular Americans at that church who also become very crucial to those families' needs. How old must the volunteers be? I guess for Rock Valley, probably we're looking for, the college would want us to have someone who is 18 and older. How are you open for citizenship appointments? Yes, probably on July 1st, we're gonna start taking citizenship appointments again. Looks like there's another question. Are there therapy dogs that we could connect with as a service? Therapy dogs that we could connect with as a service. I'm not sure what the, are we connecting refugees with comfort therapy dogs, or are we connecting dogs with refugees? I'm not sure what the, I think that refugee children could be connected to therapy dogs and different services if someone had the time to do that. Definitely we could refer kids over if that's something you want to do, connect with us. Of course, if you have a question and we haven't answered it today, you can email Billy, or you can email me, or you can call our office for sure. Does anybody else have any anything to talk about? There are many places that you can get information for refugees, and Billy has put up quite a few other resources that are available on the PowerPoint. And if you want to learn more, you know, there's a lot of links there. I think that the refugee community in Rockford is so successful because of all the agencies that we work together so closely, and we are easy to email each other and call each other and make sure that everyone gets the services they need. And we're lucky because in Chicago, it's just a lot of people and a lot of agencies, and I can see where people could slip through without getting the help that they needed. But in Rockford, I think we're very close and we're very lucky. And, you know, we have one school district that mostly has all the refugee kids and not 100 schools. And, you know, I think that overall that refugees have a great place in Rockford, and that's why we have so many people coming from other states to Rockford, because they hear how great the services are that we all provide. And I want to thank everybody for being so easy to accept the referrals that we give, and to call us when they have questions, and keeping the communication open. I know Pat is on, Pat Wynn. Maybe he can talk about anything that's going on in Catholic Charities in the Diocese of Rockford. Pat, are you still on? Maybe he's gone. We might have lost him. Anybody else have anything that they want to close with?
You know, Amy, I'd just like to say thank you to you for moderating the session today. Thank you to our panelists for educating us and sharing your wisdom with the group. I know I learned a ton. So I want to thank you, and I hope that those of you that were on the Zoom today learned a great deal. I will tell you that it warms my heart to hear that Rockford is a welcoming city but I think that has everything to do with all of you. So thank you for the work that you do. I'd also like to share just a couple of things that NICNE has coming up. In the fall, and on September 16th, we're going to have another community of practice. And this community of practice is going to focus on victim services. And it will be moderated by Maureen Mustashi from Rockford Sexual Assault. So we hope that'll be a Zoom session more than likely. So we invite you to join us for that conversation on victim services. And then on October 23rd, NICNE is hosting an event called Belonging, where we have a featured speaker, John Powell, who's going to talk about othering versus belonging, which is absolutely relevant to the immigrant and refugee population. So our desire is to build a culture of belonging in our community, and would love to have you join us for that event as well. And then the last thing I'd like to do is thank all the case managers on the call for the tremendous work that you do every day to make our community a great place to live. So thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Billy, for putting it all together for us. And it's great to have all this information distributed to so many people at one time. Lucky for Zoom.
That's right. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.